Welcome to Top Rated Gym Podcast for the gym owners aiming to take their business to the next level. I'm your host, Andre, and I'm interviewing top performance, best rated, highest revenue, fastest growing gyms in the world, regardless if they have a single location or empire of thousands. If you own a gym and looking for ideas how to get more leads, increase conversion, grow your membership base, or facing troubles with customer retention, maybe your employees or operational challenges, this is your podcast. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, or whatever time of the day you're listening to this show. Today on the Top Rated Gym Podcast, I have a special person. I don't know if I say that every time, but this is really unique. Have you ever wondered who trains Olympians? Have you ever wondered where the real results come from? Today we have Laura Stratton. She is a partner in Burn It, Build It Fitness. And I can't wait for her to share her story in Fitness World. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Laura, last time we spoke, oh my God, you amazed me. I started taking notes like crazy. And I was like, damn, we got to share this. I've seen so many business owners. I've seen so many websites from the gyms and fitness facilities. Rarely I can go and find somebody who is bragging about results. You obviously guys focus on results. You are the one who has on the homepage before and after photos. While everybody provide workouts and get place and community, there's something different that you guys focus on that nobody else does. So before we dive into it, I really want to hear your story. I want to know where the passion for fitness comes up, and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I've always been involved in sports my whole life. You know, my mom always joked around that I came out dribbling and playing sports, and that was always my thing. And so I remember for like my 5th birthday party, I didn't have a party. I just wanted sports. So I got a basketball hoop, I got a basketball, a football, and a soccer ball. And that's all I wanted. So sports has just been a big part of my life. And I grew up playing sports and was a 3-sport athlete in high school. And I was fortunate to go on and play collegiately. So I played basketball collegiately, and I was offered in 3 sports as well as soccer, volleyball, and basketball. I chose basketball just because I never got tired of it. And I'm like, well, if you're going to play a sport in college, you better love it. And so I played collegiately, and then I played a little bit professionally overseas out in like Paris and Amsterdam. And then I did that for a summer term. And I realized that that was not like playing in the United States. So I came back to the United States and I started coaching. And when I started coaching, that's where I really found my love of helping people look better, move better, and feel better. And it brought me some great opportunities where I was a college strength conditioning coach. I worked with a feeder program into the Salt Lake Real and worked with a lot of great soccer guys and toured around with them when they went to Mexico and played Benemerica and Pachuca. And then that led me on to coaching, you know, some of the Olympians that made it onto the world stage as far as volleyball goes. So Casey Patterson was one of my outside hitters, and he won the gold in Brazil for beach volleyball. And Lucas Slave, he's on the women's side. He actually coached the women's indoor. He was the associate head coach when they won gold medal for it was like their first indoor gold, which was fantastic. Russell Holmes was a middle blocker for the men's US team. I've been very fortunate through sports to have an opportunity to really help people perform better and just be ready to go when they need to and have the energy, the explosiveness, and not get injured, because that's what it's all about. It's enjoying your life and then being able to go and perform and do whatever you want to do out in the real world.
Wow. I have so many questions about this. You know, you really vibe passion for getting maximum out of somebody. But my question is, how do you recognize this talent? Do you see the person says, damn, this is Olympian, and I'm going to put my passion in it? Or do you think that everybody can become Olympian? It's just a matter of training and discipline. Like, what is the difference between these champions and rest of the world?
You know, I wish I could say that everyone can become, I think everyone can be a champion. Not everybody can become an Olympian. You know, the late, great Pat Summitt used to say, you can't win a horse race with a mule. no matter how much you train that mule and no matter how big the mule is and that heart of gold, there is a genetic aspect to some of these athletes. And with my men's volleyball team, I really found out that I mean, first of all, they all jump out of the gym, but weight wise, I found that if they stayed anywhere between like 178 to 184 pounds, they had the strength that they need and the resilience to be able to go from match to match to match and have repeated effort, but they weren't so heavy to where they couldn't jump over the block, right? Because losing an inch or 2 inches on your vertical jump can be very, very important in volleyball. It's the difference between hitting into the block and hitting over the block. And so if I kept them at a specific weight, I found out that they had their best opportunity to perform, and so I think it's kind of finding each athlete and kind of what makes them tick, and then figuring out what ways you can help them perform better. And sometimes, a lot of times, you get people that aren't very strong and they need to improve strength, but you can't just throw on a bunch of muscle on them because they lose that performance edge. So you have to kind of do it gradually and in a way that helps them accomplish the end goal without ruining the pathway.
Wow, because I have a personal trainer. I train 3 days a week with a personal trainer. I train 3 days a week in a group workout environment. And maybe I give myself a day of break, or I just go for active run or something like that. But in personal training, most of the places, and correct me if I'm wrong, will do assessment, say what your goal is, say where you are, measure you on a A to Z scale on fat and muscles and body mass and water and BMI and all 9 yards. And after that, all training goes back to the same thing, right? They don't customize it necessarily to say, oh, I want to gain weight or I want to do this. Like, okay, let's do this. And I see that's the same exercise that other person who's totally different physique than I did.
Yes.
So even I love personal training, don't get me wrong, because I have a relationship with my coach and I kind of push him to push me to a little different level. And that's symbiosis, but not many people recognize that at the end, it is up to individual to really want to get results and push both sides. So
it is. I mean, you have to have the want to, and sometimes that's a challenge when you're working with such wonderful athletes, right? Things have been, I don't want to say easy for them, but it's very natural, right? The coordination aspect, the body awareness, that stuff is very natural for them. And sometimes they're so athletic that they struggle with the discipline aspect of it. And it's sometimes the difference what makes them from a really great college athlete to an All-American is their willingness to just push through that, find that next level, digging deep. And sometimes those people that aren't as athletic, they work harder because they have to maximize their potential because they don't have that natural given ability. And so I think a part of it is that individual person having the desire and the want to get better. But I also think part of it is having a good coach that recognizes and learns what buttons to push and is prepared enough to help create vision for them to help them achieve that end goal.
So it seems like, Laura, you're looking into training from multiple aspects. You started like, okay, I need to find the right balance between your weight and your height and your muscles, like whole physique balance. Then second thing is doing the right training, and the most importantly, mindset training. So how much you as a coach have impact on their motivation, like getting most out of them, not only on a physical level, on exercise level, but on that drive internally, like pushing beyond what they think it's capable, like setting a bar, like, setting a new standard or reaching for the heights they sometimes don't even. I like personal training is because it pushed me to do more than I thought I'm capable of doing it. Right. And somebody says, come on, 10 more. And I got 10. I was like, 5 more, like, and 3 more and 2 more. And that last one is like counted 5 times. Like, come on, kill me now. How much impact, you as a coach have to have on the mindset of the person, pushing through that limitations of limiting beliefs or lack of motivation or drive.
My background is I have a master's and I call myself an exercise physiologist, right? But I have a dual master's in counseling. And I always joke around that I end up using my counseling degree probably more
Amen.
so than any of my anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, and whatnot, just because when you're working with athletes, they get stuck sometimes and they struggle in trying to help them push through the pain or just to embrace the pain and find that next level that they have to go to is difficult. And when you're dealing with general population, when you're dealing with like extreme weight loss, how they view themselves is very, very important. And so it's like you can help take the weight off of them. But when they look in the mirror, if they still see someone who is overweight, if you do not train the mindset of that person, they're going to go back to being overweight because that's how they view themselves.
Yes.
And so I think the mind is so important to train in every aspect and help them, reestablish new goals, not just physically, but mentally. So that way they can achieve what they're looking to achieve and have long-term success.
So 80%, I was always taught, and I believe 100% that 80% of success in anything we do, it can be physical, it can be Olympic training, it can be business, it can be career, is psychology. 20% is mechanics, how to do it. Because mechanics are everywhere. YouTube, take any training, there's instructions how to do it. We don't lack information how to.
No, we don't.
There's abundance of that. But that psychology, discovering first internally drive, I want to do this, and then being supported by that internal drive and pushing the wind in the back and saying, here's direction, here's what and how, and most importantly, why. I think people ignore the factor of why in their success. And that's where the coaching comes. That's where the hunger comes. I always like the quote, difference between successful people and failing people after success is one word: hunger. If you don't have a hunger, I repeat it all the time, it doesn't get you. You can be motivated for such a short time, but hunger keeps people really thriving even in the toughest period of time.
For sure.
Everybody can be good in good times, but in a tough time, that's where resilience is shown, right?
One of my favorite parts of working with general population, just anybody, is when you start with strength training, they have to learn to trust themselves, right? And they have to learn to push through when their body wants to say no. And they learn how to lift heavier. They get better at their 1 rep max. They get a little bit faster. They get a little bit stronger, but they learn to embrace the pain, right? Doing a 1 rep max with someone who's never lifted before is very different than doing a 1 rep max with someone that's lifted 10, 15 years. Your ability to recognize the lactic acid buildup and know what that is and be like, nope, I got 3 more. Let's go. Throw on 5 more pounds. Let's hit another set. It teaches them discipline, but it teaches them how to trust themselves, right? And it gives them, I guess, it helps them, I think, get better in every aspect of it because they learn to trust their abilities and they learn to trust and rely on themselves to do hard things.
Once you break limitations and limiting beliefs, it kind of cross-pollinates across many industries, many things.
And so it's like, it makes you a better spouse. It makes you a better person. It makes you a better mother, father, coworker, just overall in life, because you begin to trust yourself and what you're able to do. And when things get hard, you learn that you can push through that. And I think those are huge life lessons. And I think that's why sports is so important for everyone to participate in. There's so many different avenues. I think there's something for everybody, but I think those key things really help teach people and make you successful when times get tough. So you have that discipline, because motivation comes and goes. But if you have that hunger to get better and you have that discipline to show up every day, then great things are going to happen for you in life.
Even if you don't feel like it. It's like, can I take a break? When my body is crying, like, oh my God, that's it. Take a break. You can. You earn this. No, push it through. And what you said, you're reading my mind, literally. It's like, I want to ask you a question before I say that. Do you find correlation between people being really good in one thing, like discipline in a gym, discipline in a workout, resilience, hunger, like drive, that they have very similar behavior in other aspects of their life? Can you connect their physical workout success to maybe relationship success, or maybe business success, or maybe your own happiness, or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. Life isn't easy. I used to joke around with all my college athletes. I'm like, stay in school as long as you can, because the big kid world's not all it's cracked up to be. You work and you pay bills, right? It's hard. It's a challenge. And I think when you're diligent and you're disciplined in one area of your life, usually that means you're disciplined and diligent in other areas of your life.
How
And
you
it's
do
like when you
anything is
have a
how you do
schedule
everything.
and you have to fit things in, right? Then it's you have purpose. And I think if you start your day off with purpose, then everything just kind of rolls in and follows suit. When you don't start your day off with purpose is when you just feel like you didn't accomplish anything and you're like, what's the point, right? What good am I, right? But if you start off with purpose, then I think that ultimately leads to success.
It's cross-pollinate. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you're successful and good in one area, I have people in my company, colleagues and co-workers, people who are working with us, they're really good in their fitness world. And then you can see that discipline, the time management, the self-control in any areas of the life. While you see other people who complain about certain areas of life, they tend to complain in many other areas of the life.
Yeah,
It goes around. And even myself, Sunday, maybe if I take day off, I don't go to the gym. I miss my cold shower in the morning. I miss my routine in the morning.
yeah,
My day goes half the energy I am. I was like, it's very hard kind of to get back into that boost mode unless you skip that first discipline part of the morning.
for sure.
Whoa, we totally been deviated in different directions, but I love I love where this is going because honestly, I want people to know that regardless of where you are, even in a when you're looking for gold medalist trainee or it's kind of A player. A players are, I don't want to say built, but they have that born insight, born desire. And even if you're looking for the teammates, for colleagues, and not everybody is as good as you. You can see people are, they care, but not maybe as the highest level as you do.
For sure.
Right. And that's A player mentality. You're obviously showing A player mentality, but you're also like to train A players. You like to train people who are freaking like, go get it. I love this guy or this girl. They deliver, they push, they inspire me by pushing so hard. A players like to surround themselves with A players. It's always like that. And that works if you're looking for employees, if you're looking for the partners, if you're looking for anybody around.
Absolutely.
And how quickly can we recognize that somebody is like that go-getter?
Yeah, even now trying to find trainers, it's
Boom.
training. Fitness is very interesting right now. I can only speak for Arizona where I'm at.
Yes.
But it's very saturated. Within my
Everywhere
studio, there's 15 studios all within a mile of me.
Correct.
Right? It's like
So many
anybody can
choices.
get a job up and down the street, right? There's not much to it. What makes us different is our ability to mentor and develop you, right? And the people that are in fitness, there's a lot of franchisees and a lot of businessmen. LA Fitness kind of started out when they capitalized it and they got their money and they went. And they built a bunch of different places and have had great success, but they're not true fitness people.
Yes.
There may be great fitness people that work there, but as far as like the business wise, it's not fitness people. They don't know it from the inside of the house. And I think that's one thing that makes Burn It Build a little bit different because we're not a franchise, we're a mom and pop place, is we know business from all inside, the whole entity of it, and it's like, we're not just great fitness people, but we're great business people and we make smart decisions and we're aggressive when we need to be aggressive. But in hiring trainers and developing people, it's a challenge right now because there's so much information out there. There's more information than there's ever been. But
how do you recognize one good one? I mean, you are surrounded with a good one, bad one. You have some good experience, some bad experience.
Absolutely. I think I'm still trying to find the good ones. No, I always found that the trainers that I found that have the best success, so many people I interview and I'm like, why do you want to be a trainer? And they say, oh, I love fitness. It helped me with anxiety. It helped me with mental health. It helped me with all that other stuff. And I'm like, that's great. And they're great people. And I'm so glad they found an avenue for their outlet because I think that's so important. And I think they probably can have a great future. But my experience has been that anytime they come into fitness because it was all about them, they never make great trainers because it's always about them. And the people I get that are like, I want to be able to change people's lives. I want to help them see results. And to me, that's very, very different because I think that's a lost art on getting people results, and you get trainers and they're like, oh, I'm a trainer. I train clients. I'm like, that's not your job. Your job is not to train them in the gym. Your job is not to teach the class. I'm like, your job is to get them
Outcome.
results and motivate and inspire them to change their life. Taking them through a workout, helping them with their nutrition, teaching the class are ways that you actually get results, right? But it's not the only thing you do. And I think that's kind of a lost art that we've had with trainers. And so if I can get a trainer who's motivated to challenge others, change their lives, and really dive into what makes them tick, then I can teach them everything else. And we can get a nice full mentorship going where we can challenge them, motivate them, and help them along and learn every aspect of fitness. And I find that those trainers are the ones that stick with us the best, that really want to
People
learn
who
the
care more
entire
about
complete
somebody
aspect.
than about themselves, about the clients they
Absolutely.
serve.
Yep. Yep. My trainers don't get to just come and go like most other places do. They have other things that they have to do. But because of that, if we don't build a picket fence together and they decide to go on their own or go somewhere else, I want them to be successful, right? Because my goal is not to touch the one, but is to touch the thousands. And
Correct.
I can't touch the thousands if I'm the genius with a bunch of helpers. So if I can inspire and motivate other trainers, then when they go and they challenge people and they take the things that we do really, really well and they apply it into their lives and train and get everyone results in my way, I'm touching the thousands and I'm helping everybody look better, move better, and feel better and getting results. And that fulfills my purpose.
Listen, I like saying, in what we do, we're not paid for our time. We're not paid for our work, for showing workout. We are not paid for good looks. We're not paid for showing up and getting out. One thing matters, and that's outcome/results. And we should focus, and everybody focus on outcome first, what I'm after, why, and that why is internal juice. Why I'm motivated to helping somebody else. What fulfillment do I get by seeing somebody growing, developing, and creating the person they want? And then how I'm going to do it totally change based on what's the outcome. People start with like, what do I need to do? No. What's the outcome you're after and why are you doing it? If those two things, psychology first, clicks in, last part takes care of it on its own.
Absolutely.
Wow. So much different listening from you who have a heart in their best interest than Big Box Gem that created an enterprise based on processes. Some things you cannot put in process. You cannot make people hungry if they're not that way.
Yep.
You cannot make them love certain things if they don't love it themselves.
Exactly. You can drag a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
No doubt. Talking about that, there's a reason why you're like you are. I want our audience to hear a little bit about you, about side that people usually don't see when they meet you first. Because A players, when we talk about challenges in the past, don't see the challenges, they see as opportunities. Oh, that make me stronger. This is the reason why I'm the way I am. But I want you to tell us about what were some challenges that you experienced in the past and how those challenges impact you today? What did you learn and what came out from that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think for just being an athlete, I'm only about 5'6". So in the basketball realm, I'm not very tall. And I grew up in Montana, which I love. I didn't necessarily enjoy. I didn't appreciate Montana until I left, just like I think a lot of other, kids do. But Montana plays sports a little bit different in different seasons. And basketball was actually played in the fall for women, and then the men played in the wintertime. Well, the rest of the world, they all play in the winter. And so when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to, having college visits come, Montana was just a little bit different at the time, right? Because it's kind of during some of the dark hours where they couldn't necessarily, recruit you and go and visit because you're outside of the window because they're normally not in season. And that made it very difficult for me as far as what I wanted to do is I wanted to play for a school that had an opportunity to win a national championship. And that was my desire. And so I didn't want to stay in Montana because Montana had a great program. The Lady Grizz were fantastic. They won their conference every year, but they also went in the NCAA tournament as a 15 or 16 seed and would get squashed by 50 points. And I wanted an opportunity to play for someone that could win a national championship. And so being from Montana, I didn't necessarily have club sports. But I didn't get the visibility that, there wasn't social media, there wasn't all these other avenues to help get your name out. And so I actually walked on to a 4-year school in Utah and worked my way to have a scholarship. And that was a struggle because now you're having to pay for school and you're trying to be a college athlete. And I was fortunate enough to where I busted my butt, and I joke around that they don't put my personality in women that are 6'7" and 6'8", because that'd be rude and mean. All those really, really tall people, they're so nice. They're butterflies. I love them. They're great teammates, but they're not little feisty point guards. And I really worked hard, and I went from being not having a strength conditioning coach really through high school and not knowing much in that aspect to I got to this university. And I tell you what, I had a 6'4" player that ran 2 miles in 13 minutes. She ran like a deer, and I'd never seen anyone that height be able to run that distance that well. And I went from being very, very last on the team by the end of the summer to being first or second, because that's what I had to do to earn my spot. And I never knew your body could be so sore. I never knew your body could still perform after being so sore. I would walk and my coaches would be like, did you tweak an ankle? And I was like, no. They're like, why are you limping? I was like, I'm sore. Like, the body has been challenged, but that made me tougher and it made me more resilient. And I look back on those and I don't regret any of the decisions I made. I don't regret, turning down other smaller schools to achieve my dream of playing at this Division I university. And I went from being a walk-on to being a 4-year scholarship athlete for the next 4 years, and went from not knowing anyone and the coach didn't know me and didn't necessarily recruit me to now here I am front and center. And then I was playing in Europe, and it wasn't always easy times, but it was just diligence and it was belief in myself, and it's a great support system. And you just take what you can and you run with it as far and as fast as you can.
And it's such an inspiring story. If you ask anybody, should you go and play with a way taller basketball team, they will say, come on, find another sport. Take a soccer. Right?
Yeah, right? Stick with soccer and volleyball. Like, that's where the short people are. You can be the libero, or soccer, you can have a great career.
You had an outcome. Like, I know what I want.
Yeah.
I know why I'm after it. You didn't know what A player is probably at that time, but says, I want another A player to surround. I want to play with A League. I want to go for the best one. And they bring your challenge to the next level, to the level of something you weren't signing up for.
For sure. And because I wasn't as tall, I had to be faster, quicker, and I had to be smarter. And that's what I ended up doing. So again, I went from being pretty much dead last on our runs and our sprints to being top 2 to being an NCAA National Strength Conditioning All-American, where I really learned, and I spent a lot of time in the weight room, and I didn't go home over the summer, but I stayed and I conditioned with the team and I ran with the team, and I was terrified of taking steps backwards. I knew if I was going to start, and I knew if I was going to play and have minutes, I had to earn everything, and I had to make sure that there was no
leave nothing on the table. Every moment is all out moment.
Every minute. And that's kind of how I became a partner in the company, is I had to go outwork everybody else. When I first entered fitness, I started as an entry-level employee. I had never worked with general population before. I believe it or not, I was actually working at Walmart because I took a coaching job and I was only getting paid $1,500 for the year. And so I needed something to supplement my income that would work around basketball. And so here I am working at Walmart with the double master's degree. And I liked it because it was active, and I just worked the whole grocery department. It was great. And when I walked into a gym, they give you the 2 free training sessions. And my trainer was like, you ought to work here. And I was like, nah, one-on-one, one person, general population. How hard is that? I've been working with football players and things like that, where I got 85 guys working in the room and I have to circulate them throughout to make sure that they can all get their workout in. And he was like, well, it's fun. You can make good money. And I was like, maybe I'll try it. And in 3 months, after starting off as an entry-level employee, I was running the gym. And if you work hard and you make yourself invaluable, opportunity is created for those that are willing to take opportunity. And so I made myself invaluable to where they didn't want me to go anywhere else, to where their only option was make me a
Irreplaceable.
partner and keep me in long term, and then let's go kick butt, take names, and get people results.
Yes. And listen, again, how you do anything is how you do everything. Because once you go through impossible, somebody will say is that just don't go there. It's impossible. You make it right. Then every other challenge that you go after, you just ask yourself same question. Oh, I went through worse. Test me
Yep.
out. See,
Yep.
I'm coming. And
Yeah.
every challenge in the future. And not only that, your own breaking through limitations and testing the limits does not only reflect our life. It reflects the life of people around you, on your family, your kids, your spouses, your friends. Everybody see, because people know you as you were a kid. It was like, oh my God, look at what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what discipline, determination can do. Look at what character can come out. And I think that's how people get inspired in a young age. And I believe this video will inspire people who are currently working in the places, thinking like, I'm doing this as a temporary job. This is something I like. I love doing it. This is my way. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of thinking like, oh, I'm stuck here. No, I'm in transition.
Yeah.
This is just a stepping stone. I know where I want. I know my outcome, and I'm after it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. Wow, Laura, this is incredible. You are incredible. I got to tell you that. It's
Thank
how
you.
true champions are built. And now when you're talking to somebody and says, I can't do it, I'm out. You are in your mind says there's a lot more there than you think.
Mm-hmm.
It's just don't give me that.
Yeah.
I
And we
know
just
I've
haven't
been there.
uncovered it yet.
If you've never been through a situation like this, like you did, extreme exhaustion, putting the limits on your body and muscles and bones and psychology and mental, physical limits. Can somebody who never been through that be as a good coach?
That's a good question. I'll be honest. I don't necessarily know the answer to that because that's never been my experience. It's never come easy to me,
I know.
And so I don't know what it would be like having it come that easy. I'm a big fan of never being the smartest person in the room and constantly learning and developing your craft. And I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. To me, he's the GOAT. And
Yes.
I always wonder why he never coached. Because in my mind, I could envision him being such a fantastic coach, right? And really developing people because his mind was so great with the game. But I also wonder if because his mind was so great with the game, that it's easy to get frustrated that people can't see it as quickly as you do. And that could be a very frustrating aspect because I know how frustrating it can be to be a coach to athletes and have them not see things and respond. And I was like, after my first year coaching, I was like, I get it why coaches have heart attacks now. I understand. And so I don't know what it's like to have that viewpoint of it. I do know what
I
it's like
believe
to not have it come easy and have to work for it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, coaches are usually people, in the world of coaching, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he's now, but one of the best ever golf players.
For sure.
I don't think his coach is better than him, but he can see things differently from different angles.
He can see the mechanics. He can fine tune every little thing. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes
I think a good coach surrounds themselves with multiple people, right? We all have different giftings. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing of having multiple coaches is you get a bunch of different giftings to help that person achieve their best. Yeah.
So Laura, what is the next for you? You have incredible experience, but what is the big audacious goal for you? How does the next 10-year look like?
Yeah.
It's 2034 now, and you said, the last 10 years were freaking
10-year plan. Yes. My goal is to have 10 locations.
Okay.
So right now we have 2. The goal is to have 10 here in Arizona, where we can really, have great locations that are ran by great people that get great results. And then once we get those 10 locations, I'd like to continue to expand, not necessarily have more locations. If the opportunity provides itself, great. But the bigger you get, sometimes the quality drifts and drops down a little bit. Yeah. So quality matters as a trainer. And so I'd rather have great quality than quantity. But I would love to have 10 locations. And then I'd love to, not necessarily a motivational speaker, but I would love to kind of start to be a consultant and help people fix their locations, do workshops and things like that to really help trainers understand how to grow their business, how to develop more as trainers and as business people, and how to get better results. And I continue to help motivate and inspire people. So
Wow, do more of what you did
touch more thousands. Yeah.
5x that. Listen, that's an awesome goal. And I believe there are people who are listening to this who's like, oh, I want to join her. I'm glad that she says that. People who are, a lot of times I hear stories from people who joined the brand were either trainers that internally says, oh, there's opportunity, I can do it. What do I need to do? Or your members, your customers. A lot of time, there's a lot of energy inside and opportunity and even investments and people who says, I love what I'm doing here. Instead of just being member, can I become a member and trainer? Can I become member, trainer? And because doing what you love to do is half the job already done.
Absolutely.
Whoa, this is awesome. So now let's talk about a little business. You obviously have incredible training in place, skills. You have a mindset in place for success. How do we train your next location person to replicate results you got, especially when it comes to either bringing people in or retaining people at the gym?
Yeah.
What would you say to your new
being
location?
able to retain them is huge, right? We know
I'm glad
we
you
have to
said
give
that.
people results right away. If you
Yes.
don't get results, you're not staying, right? Because people's attention is, their attention span is very, very short, right? And so we actually use an acronym within our company. It's called PISROPS.
PISROPS?
The P, PISROPS, yeah. And it allows us to know exactly what's going on in our facilities, to know what we need to fix, what we need to change to make sure
What
that
does
we're
it
being
stand for,
successful.
PISROPS? Can you help us
So the
understand?
first P stands for personality, right? And that's not just the personality of your trainers, but it's the personality of your studio. When you walk in, we've all walked into those gyms where we're like, it kind of, there's something off, right? It doesn't feel good.
Gut
When
feeling.
you walk into a studio, when you walk into a gym, you got to be like, man, this place feels good. Like it's got a vibe to it, right? So not only are my trainers excited and acknowledging people and handshakes and highs and buys, those are lost arts that we don't have anymore, right? Everyone's in their phone, and so if you get someone that comes to the door knowing all your members I know every single member by name.
Yes.
I know by name, I know their goals, I know what they lift, I know what they run on. I've had 5 years of Spanish and I can't remember a lick of it, but I remember all of their weights, I remember all their speeds, and I know all of their goals, right? And so the personality of your studio is important. And again, you need a bunch of different personalities because they appeal to a bunch of different people. So that's the first P.
Whoa.
The next one is R, and R stands for results. I have to give you, PS, PISROP. So P is personality, S is service. Okay. I have to give service. I am a firm believer that you give first and then you receive. Our goal is to be humble servants to our members, right? To service them beyond expectation.
Totally
because if I take care of them, they're going to take care of me. And so service is huge. So we have personality, we have service, and that means we then have to get them results. Help them lose weight, help them get stronger. There's so many ways to get results. Maybe it's that very first pull-up. Maybe it's their first 5K, their first mud run. Maybe it's just confidence, right? Maybe it's building muscle. There's so many different types of results that we've been able to see. I've had people get off their blood pressure medication or drop their A1C so that way they aren't on Ozempic and all these other things to help with their blood sugar levels, right? Those are all great stories of great results. It's not always about the weight loss. And so if I get them results, then they feel obligated, which is the O, to tell everybody about me. So we have personality, we service them, we get them results, and then they're obligated to tell everybody. When people see that they're getting stronger, they're losing weight, they have more energy, they're a better spouse, they're a better parent, right? They're a better coworker. They go, what are you doing? They're like, you got to go to Burn It, Build It. I can't even explain it, but you got to go. It's different. And then that brings us promotion and production.
Wow.
Right. And if they're telling everything how great we are, and that brings us production, and we are promoting and doing the things we need to do, then that brings us the sale. Right. And that sale is the very, very, very last thing. The
Well,
problem with most gyms and other studios is we call it the piss system. So they promote and then they sell, promote, sell, promote, sell. And they
wow.
forget about the service and everything else beforehand. And if I show value before I give a price, then we can be more successful, right? It goes back to the beginning of sales, right? Find a need, fulfill the need, and then close on the need.
And it becomes part of intrinsic, internal motivation to give back. There are
Absolutely.
studies done
Mhm.
all the time about reciprocity. It's one of the influence factors. They
Yeah.
says if you give somebody water when they're thirsty, and water can be either purchase water for $1 or freaking free water.
Mhm.
Later on, if you ask that person to give you $1,000, even if you don't know them much, just because you gave them water, your likelihood to get that $1,000 that's
Mhm.
tremendously different value than the water
Yeah,
itself. Your likelihood increase multiple fold
for
because
sure.
we have that tendency to give back. Even I have my own trainer. I see how much he's working. When his birthday comes up, I buy him whoop. I buy him some cool gift, like my best friend. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But somehow I'm looking. It's not even any more payment relation. That's on the side. That's on autopilot.
Yeah. It's appreciation.
It's appreciation. Like, how do I give you back for things that we have here? It's a
Yeah.
freaking
And
awesome
to
thing.
me, the greatest compliment that our members can give us is to refer their friends,
Yes.
you know? And so the cool thing about that piss drop system is anytime we do all of our marketing and we're trying to bring people in, because that's the hardest part in fitness is getting people into the facility, is 50% coming from inside the house. And if
Mhm.
it's not, why isn't it? Is it because my trainers don't have good personality? Is it because we're not creating that obligation fact? We're not doing a good job servicing them. The studio's not clean. We're not doing a good job in that aspect. Or are we not getting them results? Right?
Mm.
Is our coaching not great? And so it's like if
Mm.
those things aren't good, people aren't going to refer their friends.
So you
But
take
if those things,
responsibility. It says, let me see in house. You didn't mention a
bingo.
single time what's happening in economy, why things politics are like this.
Nope.
Like it's all like, let me see in my own house what I'm doing wrong.
Yep. And the piss drops allows me to break it all down. And if we're not getting that, we got a problem inside the house. So we need to go back to training. What are we not doing as
Wow.
trainers, right? Are we not saying our highs and buys? Are we gotten lazy in class, right? Are we assuming that the members should know what they're supposed to do? And we're not doing a good job of fine tuning and coaching. I mean, the sad thing is I've interviewed other trainers from other facilities, and I'm baffled by the fact that they're told not to overcorrect people because they don't want people to feel bad about being there. And if you spend all your time correcting them, they don't want to come back. And
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there, and in my mind as a trainer, I'm so dumbfounded because I'm like, people don't know they're not doing it correctly unless you help them.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you don't
You
have to be a
reminded me.
jerk about it, and I don't have to
Yeah.
spend 30 minutes fine tuning you. It's like we can't build Rome in a day, but
Yeah.
my goal is how can I get you to move the best possible way today?
Yeah.
I don't have to fix it, but let's get you to move better today. And then let's build and build and build and build. And
And
I
it's
think when you do a
contagious.
good job there, then members want to help you and they want to bring their friends that also need help. And that's great because that's how you can grow your membership. And
Wow.
then if I can get 50% inside and then 50% from marketing, you're
Mm.
always going to be successful. You can't just rely on out marketing. If your members aren't happy and the floodgates are open out the back, you're never going to be able to retain a member. And we're very, very fortunate, but we work really, really hard. I still have the
Yes.
first 9 people I ever signed up 9 years ago at my studio.
No way.
I do. I have the first 9. I can give you all their names. I have the first 9, but I never, ever forget that this is a business and they want results. They continually come because we coach, challenge,
You don't drop the ball.
compliment, and correct. That's what we do. We coach, challenge, compliment, and correct. And I'm going to help you get to that next goal. And then we're going to reset new goals. And I'm going to help you achieve those goals. And sometimes we take 10 steps forward and 2 steps back. Let's get back on it, right? It's always going to be results oriented because if it's not and it becomes a friendship, you're going to lose every single time because they didn't join you to have a friend. They joined you to get results.
Guys, that's how you keep members for 9 years. And why 9? Because that's how long she started to go with them.
That's how
Not
long.
that she
Yeah.
lost them 9. 10
9
years from
and
now, it's going to
going.
be 19. So
That's right.
Oh my God. So 4 C's, guys. Remember, 4 C's: coach, challenge, compliment, correct.
Yep.
Compliment as well. Don't just coach without telling you you're doing it
Compliment
right.
is huge.
Reinforce it with a good compliment. That's so important in today's world.
Without a doubt. Our workouts are hard. You know,
My God.
I wouldn't they're because again, I never think a workout gets easier. Anybody who says that is lying, right? Because you get better and they
That's
adapt
right.
it and they challenge you in different ways. But you can't forget to compliment them. They're hard. It's hard to work out every day. It's hard to show up all the time. And it's like, man, thank them for showing up. Thank
Yeah.
them for coming in and being a part of your facility. You know, I mean, show appreciation. And when you do that, they light up like a Christmas tree. I mean, when they get their very first pull up, when they get their first mud run, when they're off their medication, you know, I mean, I had this wonderful member, and she's been a member for a year now, and we've lost 30 pounds. But to me, the 30 pounds is great, but that's not the big compliment. The compliment was after being a member with us for a week. I told her, I said, if you can come in, and she hadn't worked out in over 15 years, I'm like, I'm going to change your life. She went to the doctor and got some very, very unfortunate news and was pretty much told that she could have a heart attack at any given time and could die. That's how bad her health was. And she's like, I tried calling my best friend and she didn't answer. And I couldn't call my husband. He was at work. She's like, I didn't know where to go. And I drove to you. And I've only known this girl for a week. And she came into my lobby crying, and I took her back to my office and we talked through it. And to me, what a compliment that she trusted me with that information after such a short time. But I'm like, I am so happy that we were there to help her.
Yeah.
And allow her to keep going and keep working, because she had every reason to be scared and stop and be just unsure. But now a year later, she's down 30 pounds. She's feeling better. She's a better wife. She's a better mother. And she has a new purpose in life. And to me, that is a huge compliment that she would trust us at that difficult point in her life, to just needed a shoulder to cry on. And we were there, and I was available, which I'm very, very thankful for.
Yeah. And look at this, guys. You know, people come here for results. Laura, you're gold of information, truly gold. We can talk about this. We can geek out about the gym and fitness.
Right. I told you I'm a fitness nerd.
Oh my God. I love it. One thing, when you were talking about processes and duplicatable, it resonated story with me. And story is when Tony Robbins in his 30s, 40s, he's my coach. I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah.
He came on to US Navy and says, give me the most successful program you have, and I'm going to make it better. I was like, come on, you've never been trained in Marines, like, you know. He says, we have a Marine training. We have sniper shoot program. In 30 days, we'll get any soldier. We'll train him with 70% success to be a sniper shooter. That's our program. 30 days, 70% success. And he came in and says, I'm going to do it in 24 hours with 100% success. So they says, no, you're crazy. No, it says, I'm expensive.
Yeah.
So they paid him with shooting from the big guns, flying in the planes, and do big boys' toys. But what he did, it's very impressive. And goes back to your C, it's called compliment. He says, I'll take soldiers, and I'm going to model. He requested top 3 sniper shooters in the world to come to it and spend a month with them. He understood everything that they do, how they wake up, how they live the day, how they eat, breathe, sleep. Like, he modeled success. Like, every success has its own model that follows the clues. Like, there is a certain behavior that people who are doing well, and he finds the same pattern across top 3 territorial distant people. He says, okay, I have a model. Now he needs to replicate model on every soldier. He came in and he gave a sniper shoot that can go 2,000 miles away, and he gave them 3 feet distance. I was like, shoot. I was like, what do you mean? It's so easy. It's like, no, shoot. But I wanted you to shoot, and I wanted you to celebrate you, like you hit that 2,000 miles distance right now. I wanted you to embed it in the emotion, celebration, and that thing, C, compliment.
Yep.
Earn it. Like your first pull-up, your first push-up. You got to celebrate it. If you don't, there's no reward for the brain. Brain says, what the heck? And he did 2 feet, 6 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet, 200, 1,000 feet. Every time he doubled the distance, every time they celebrated. Like a crazy. And before you know it, they're 2,000 miles shooting a sniper, everybody with 100% accuracy. It's a process, but brain has to Brain has to participate again. You see, again, going back to the beginning of this conversation, psychology, 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all clues of psychology.
Yeah, the dopamine pathway is strong. Right? No one's at the grocery store at 2:00 in the morning with broccoli, right? They all have ice cream, cookies, they got alcohol.
Pizzas,
they're not there with broccoli and apples, right? It's like no one leaves their house. That dopamine pathway is very, very important. It is
Correct.
powerful.
It is such a powerful drug that's produced by us inside our system. We have chemistry. Just make sure it's part of the process, but it's also process. If you miss that one C, coach challenge, you can coach people, you can challenge people, you can correct them, but you'll be nasty, annoying hell of a coach if you don't compliment them. Bravo, man. That's how I go. Keep pushing. Whoa, we can go all day long. I know time is up. Guys, we had a pleasure here today, one and only. I knew when I announced this that this is going to be a special episode, and I was right. Laura, you're something special. I'm so glad that I have you today, and for sharing your incredible wisdom and your mind, how you see fitness world. I wish more people in this world are like you, and I'm so glad that you are in the place to really spread this message and inspire others how to think. You're a gift to this world, and I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for attending.
Well, thank you. It's what a pleasure it is to be on this podcast with you. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. For everybody else, guys, subscribe, follow us, likes us. Make sure you find Laura, follow her, see her journey. And until next episode, stay tuned. See ya, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, what an episode, right? Thank you guys for tuning in into this top-rated gym podcast. We hope you found valuable insights and practical tips to help you tackle the challenges of gym ownership. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. We want to reach the community. With your help, we can be the biggest contributor, biggest resources for you and other gym owners. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of them, YouTube. If you have any questions, feedback, or topics you would like us to cover, or people you would like us to interview, or if you want to be interviewed on the podcast, reach out at topratedgym.com. Stay tuned, stay motivated, keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off. Bye.